What I'm fighting for is that all New Zealanders would be able to have their voice heard.
I don't know why sometimes I get frightened to see my eyes and tell me I'm the liar.
My great-grandmother, she decided to write to decision makers about what she was experiencing and how life was for her. And it wasn't until a couple of years ago I learnt that actually some of her letters, the letters that she had wrote to some of those politicians, were here at the University of Canterbury, which I came and studied at. In 1990, one of her letters was that it was about the 150th commemorations of the signing of the treaty. 100%, I didn't expect her to have such views that I'm so proud of at that time, but it's helped my advocacy knowing that I'm not the first in my family. I ended up being someone who supports young people and Pacific people, multicultural peoples to have their voice heard in decision making. My mum and my nana, and the love that they had around supporting me to say whatever I thought and encouraging me to have a voice and participate. My dad and the Samoan upbringing that I got to have later on. So I didn't necessarily have that when I was young, but especially here at uni, I've been able to learn a lot more about my Samoan identity, being part of a Pacific Youth Parliament, and those three things together, plus lots of love from other people, kind of made me think, yeah, I shouldn't just keep to myself the experiences I've had around being able to have my voice heard. The problems New Zealand has, the problems we have in our region, are not going to be solved by continuing to try and promote the same voices that have been in leadership and in decision making. It's about trying to bring in that fresh perspective, because when it's heard genuinely, we have that transformational change. The biggest difference I see when young Pasifika and young Māori voices are in decision making is the new ideas and innovation that comes. Most of the decisions from mental health come from a Western paradigm, but actually when we look at it from a young person, a young Pacific or Māori person's upbringing and experiences, we get an answer that we would never otherwise have come to, and actually up until now hasn't really necessarily been funded or valued. I got to be part of a team of 6 who's created the 5 to 10 year vision for mental health and addiction in New Zealand. I was 22 at the time, and the next oldest person was like 30 or 40 years older than me, and they included me in a way that it was so precious. And what we were able to do, the 6 of us together, led to the $1.9 billion that was spent in mental health in 2018, 2019, and then what's happening. There is so much inequality, and some of the support we're offering isn't focused enough on Māori and Pacific well-being. Some people will say, supporting Māori and Pacific, I'm not Māori or Pacific, that doesn't actually help me. But the opportunity is we can address deep legacy of colonisation through equity, and equity is bringing everybody up to par so that we can all move forward together. New Zealand colonised parts of the Pacific, and as a responsibility to help remedy those, we have to teach about that. For a long time, we didn't have an understanding that as a country that New Zealand has specific responsibilities to Cook Islands, Niue and Tokelau because we're part of the realm of New Zealand. Managed to get that written into the New Zealand curriculum, and so it's something that I'm quite proud of. I hope that we would be able to stop hearing the stories of people falling through the gaps, not getting the help that they need. That we as a country move away from the social racism that exists. I mean, I was in a meeting with a city council last week, and one of the staff said to me, "Oh, we don't translate things into te reo because people won't understand." And those kinds of things need to be dead in our country. We have an Indigenous language that I'd love us all to be proud of. If we can embrace that is who we are as a South Pacific nation, We have a Pacific identity, and as part of our Pacific identity, we need to know our neighbourhood much better. The Cook Islands, Niue and Tokelau are New Zealand's family. They are New Zealand citizens. We have a greater responsibility to the Pacific than most New Zealanders are aware of. So if we could do all that in 10 years, I'd be a very happy person.